Last year, St. Kitts and Nevis embraced a bold new vision, one built on resilience, innovation, fairness, and prosperity for all. A vision grounded in 7 pillars that touch every part of our lives: energy, water, food security, the creative and digital economy, infrastructure and housing, the environment, and people, our greatest asset. These pillars are the blueprint for a modern, sustainable island state, a roadmap to a nation that works better, lives cleaner, grows smarter, and creates more opportunities for every citizen and every resident. And in 2025, we saw that vision move from promise to progress, step by step. Investment by investment, project by project, the government led by Prime Minister Honorable Dr. Terence Ruo pushed forward, building, upgrading, training, digitizing, and reforming. Across the country, the transformation became visible. Homes going up, land titles in hand, water finally flowing reliably, new roads opening, farmers and fishers earning more, digital services unlocking convenience, trainees stepping into the jobs of the future, hospitals and emergency care modernizing, young people receiving savings and investments, and families finding real relief when they needed it most. More importantly, this year proved something fundamental. People are not just included in the agenda, people are the purpose of it. Let's take a look at some of the work done this year, pillar by pillar. Pillar 1, energy transition. Moving boldly toward a future that is cleaner and cheaper, St. Kitts and Nevis continues to prove that energy is the master key. Because when you solve energy, you solve water, food security, and ultimately salaries and national wealth. In 2025, this truth became reality in real, measurable ways as the country advanced its most ambitious energy transformation in history. This year, our geothermal dream finally became a geothermal plan, with financing now secured, contracts reset, and drilling set to begin in early 2026. The Nevis Geothermal Project is officially on track to deliver clean, reliable baseload power, enough to run an entire country, this country. This shift means stability, a future where electricity is no longer tied to oil prices, where households and businesses benefit from lower costs and predictable bills, where industries can grow more competitively, and where new high-value jobs emerge in a sector poised to define a global development for decades to come. As geothermal moved toward execution, 2025 also became the reset year for the solar PV and battery energy storage project. The government relaunched the initiative, designed to supply over 30% of St. Kitts' electricity once operational in late 2026. The project promises lower fuel expenses, greater bill stability, and a cleaner environment. But most importantly, it promises opportunity. Solar training programs are now in full swing, ensuring that Kittitians and Nevisians will be the ones installing, maintaining, and operating these major systems, keeping the economic benefits right here at home. To support this clean energy future, 2025 also delivered the most significant grid upgrade in our nation's history. A modern energy system demands a modern grid, and Skelec's new energy transition unit has begun upgrading 11 kilowatt legacy lines to more efficient, higher voltage infrastructure. The team is strengthening the grid against hurricanes, integrating smart digital systems, and improving response times to outages. Though much of this work happens silently in the background, it is the foundation that will allow renewable energy, desalination plants, new housing developments, and future industries to operate smoothly and reliably. It is infrastructure that quite literally powers progress. And this progress is reaching directly into people's homes. In March of this year, 2025, the rollout of smart electric meters began, ushering in a new era of transparency and control for consumers. For the first time, Households will be able to track electricity usage in 15-minute intervals, helping detect waste, reduce costs, and plan consumption more effectively. Prepaid options will give customers greater flexibility, while upcoming interconnection policies will allow homeowners with solar panels to sell excess energy back to the grid. It's greater choice, it's real savings, it's empowerment in the palm of your hand. But technology alone cannot transform a nation. People do. And 2025 was a year of building human capacity at scale. In January, the Federation hosted its first ever electric vehicle training and certification course, giving local mechanics internationally recognized credentials. Solar PV empowerment training soon followed, along with advanced renewable energy training in Taiwan, turning young people, technicians, and tradesmen into certified green energy professionals. These programs are not just preparing workers for new jobs, they are creating new income streams and new pathways to generational wealth. As EVs, solar systems, smart grids, and battery storage become the national standard, our people won't just use the technology, they will build it, maintain it, innovate it, and profit from it. Pillar 2, water security. This government fully understands that water is the foundation of life, public health, agriculture, tourism, investment, and national confidence. And we continue to make bold steps in securing a future when our taps run 24/7, moving from temporary fixes to permanent solutions. And nowhere is that clearer than in our desalination program. At the CA Paul Southwell Industrial Park, the Federation's largest desalination plant powered up for the first time in October 2025. Now, in final testing, this 2 million gallon a day facility is on track to restore 24-hour water access to Bastia and surrounding communities. For households, this means the end of chronic rationing. For businesses and investors, it means predictability, one of the most valuable assets in any economy. On the East Coast, the Federation's first solar-powered desalination plant continues to operate at the Canada Industrial Site, producing roughly 70,000 gallons of clean water each day. Powered entirely by renewable energy, it reduces costs, strengthens climate resilience, and supports communities like Connery's, Keys, and nearby industrial corridor. Together, these desalination plants mark a historic turning point. St. Kitts and Nevis is no longer waiting on rainfall to guarantee water. We are producing it ourselves. But desalination is only one piece of the puzzle. This year, the government completed the most sophisticated water survey ever done in St. Kitts, a semi-airborne hydrogeological scan that mapped the island from Keon to Old Road. Delivered in October, the survey identified 17 promising groundwater sites, with 10 prioritized for immediate development. For decades, communities like Sadlers, St. Paul's, Newton Ground, Sandy Point, and Challengers have struggled during dry spells. Now, they stand to benefit from new climate-resilient wells that will boost supply where it is needed most. To move swiftly, the government pre-advanced procurement for drilling. A contract was signed in September with Water and Oil Well Services from Trinidad and Tobago. These wells mean reliability for families, expansion for farmers, better services for hoteliers, and employment for our local construction and engineering sectors. All of this fits into a wider investment framework that is transforming the entire water system: storage, interconnection, leak reduction, pressure management, and modern monitoring. It's not just more water, it's smarter water. Interlinked reservoirs now allow water to be rerouted across districts. New climate tracking tools guide decision making, and upgrades to pipelines and pumping systems are reducing losses and lowering operating costs. Anchoring all of this is the SKN Transwater Project, the Federation's flagship climate finance water initiative. In 2025, The project advanced through major public consultations, technical designs, and international frameworks with the Green Climate Fund. Transwater is a vehicle that will overhaul outdated infrastructure, reduce non-revenue water, introduce low-carbon technologies, and build the climate-ready water system our islands need. It brings global financing into local hands, creating jobs, strengthening resilience, and ensuring that every gallon counts. Pillar 3, food security. Food security is national security. It is jobs, income, exports, and the comfort of knowing that in a changing world, we can feed ourselves. This year, we continued bold strides to transform agriculture and fisheries into engines of resilience and wealth creation, built on innovation, climate-smart practices, and new opportunities for farmers, fishers, and young people. The year began with the Federation emerging from one of the most challenging droughts in recent memory. Instead of setbacks, we used the moment to accelerate investment. Through a multi-million-dollar intervention, farmers received free drip irrigation systems, drought-resilient seeds, protective crop coverings, and on-farm support to safeguard production. These upgrades meant higher yields with less water, lower operating costs, and more predictable income, especially for small farmers whose livelihoods depend on every harvest. 2025 also saw unprecedented support for the livestock sector. A dedicated $1 million account was created to secure a stable and uninterrupted supply of animal feed, ensuring farmers never face shortages due to global supply delays. Veterinary medicine and livestock programs expanded, giving students hands-on training in pregnancy diagnosis, ultrasound use, and animal husbandry. The result is a stronger, more professional livestock industry, one that protects food supply while opening new career pathways for young people. Our investment in technology pushed agriculture into a modern era. A national drought forecasting system powered by satellite data, digital mapping, and real-time WhatsApp alerts now guides farmers on when to plant, irrigate, and conserve water. This climate-smart tool transforms decision-making, giving farmers the same kind of digital intelligence used in advanced economies and helping protect their income in an unpredictable climate. At sea, 2025 was a breakthrough year. The government deployed 12 of 15 new fish aggregating devices. These subsurface FADs are sturdier, safer, and designed to boost catch rates, reduce fuel costs, and increase earnings for fishers. And it is working. Fisheries revenue has risen from EC 8 million a few years ago to EC 90 million. But our oceans are not our only sources of food. They are ecosystems that must be protected. In June of this year, the Federation launched a groundbreaking king crab coral restoration initiative. Fishers and marine stewards received training to raise native Caribbean king crabs, which help revive coral reefs by naturally removing excess algae. This creates a double benefit: healthier reefs for tourism and biodiversity, and a new blue economy product that fishers can sell to restaurants and hotels, generating an entirely new income stream. On land, diversification took center stage. Nature's Sustainable Farm moved into its next phase with over 100 acres now under cultivation and the first ever export of St. Kitts grown Tabasco peppers to the United States firmly on the horizon. Each acre employs up to 5 people, meaning hundreds of jobs and a new export market that links farmers directly to global value chains. All of this falls under a broader shift toward eco-friendly, climate-smart agriculture, greenhouse expansion, modern hatcheries, precision irrigation, soil-saving practices, and the Climate-Smart Agriculture Project, now advancing through national consultation, signals a future where agriculture is not just sustainable, but profitable, competitive, and resilient. Pillar 4, Sustainable Industries. We continue to invest in our own by building out our talent, empowering entrepreneurs, and opening new pathways to wealth creation. This year, The creative economy stepped confidently into the future. As part of Global Entrepreneurship Week 2025, the government hosted the first ever AI in Business Summit and award ceremony. It brought together creatives, entrepreneurs, and technologists to explore how artificial intelligence can amplify marketing, design, storytelling, and content production. For the first time, our artists and cultural entrepreneurs were positioned not just as performers, but as innovators and business leaders ready to export their craft to the world. But the digital revolution goes far beyond the arts. This year, we also launched one of the region's most ambitious cybersecurity training programs. Beginning in February and graduating its first cohort in November, the program trained participants to international standards and prepared them for remote cybersecurity work, jobs that pay global salaries from right here at home. As the second cohort is set to begin in January 2026, more citizens will enter a career field that has unlimited earning potential and global demand. This, coupled with the electric vehicle training and certification program and the solar empowerment training, ensuring that as renewable energy expands, our people, not foreign contractors, are able to benefit. For small businesses, 2025 was a year of unprecedented support. Hundreds of entrepreneurs gained access to training through the Building Bankable Business program, launched in April to teach financial literacy, budgeting, cash flow management, and business planning. Its purpose is simple: to transform ideas into bankable enterprises and entrepreneurs into investment-ready leaders. But training alone is not enough. In October, the Citizenship by Investment Unit launched the Local Micro and Small Businesses Grant Program, offering easy $10,000 grants to qualifying businesses across the Federation. By November, 36 businesses has already been approved, receiving capital to expand operations, purchase equipment, hire staff, or move their services online. These grants injected real money directly into the hands of local entrepreneurs, supporting the creation of jobs, products, and new services across every sector. This momentum is matched by one of the most transformative digital agendas in the Caribbean. In May 2025, St. Kitts and Nevis launched its Electronic Travel Authorization (ETA) system and e-border platform, enabling faster, more secure processing for visitors and dramatically improving the travel experience, especially during major events like the St. Kitts Music Festival. This strengthens tourism, enhances national security, and positions the Federation as a modern, tech-forward destination. Behind the scenes, the digital transformation is accelerating even further. The government is advancing its national digital ID system, the core of all future e-services, set to enable secure online access to government services, banking, trade, and digital signatures. Parallel to this, the electronic civil registry system also moved forward, digitizing births, deaths, marriages, and adoptions so citizens and the diaspora can access official documents from anywhere in the world. Together with online tax services, the developing online passport system, business registration portal, and single trade window, St. Kitts and Nevis is building a digital economy that lowers barriers, speeds up transactions, attracts investments, and creates new income possibilities for every citizen. Pillar 5. Sustainable settlements. A strong nation is built, literally, on the spaces where people live, learn, heal, travel, play, and grow. This year, the government accelerated ownership through the NHC Renaissance Project, delivering and constructing nearly 200 new homes across Stapleton, Harry Phipps, Otleys, Sandy Point, and other communities. More land was secured to scale the project further, ensuring that hundreds of families will soon step into houses that instantly increase their net worth. Every home built supports contractors, tradesmen, truckers, suppliers, and strengthens the foundation for generational wealth. Side by side with the new housing came one of the most meaningful reforms in decades: land regularization. In 2025 alone, 531 lots were distributed, with full titles handed over to families in St. Peter's, Lagreet, St. Paul's, and other long-neglected communities. In several cases, beneficiaries walked into the banks the very next day because for the first time they had collateral, dignity, and the power to invest in their future. This is land, not just as a place to live, but as empowerment. And for the first time in our history, the entire land system is going digital. A new land administration and information system is being built, replacing decades of paper files with a transparent, efficient online platform. Beginning early in 2026, citizens will be able to submit applications, track their status, and view available lots on a digital map. This modernization protects national patrimony, strengthens fairness, and speeds up development, making it easier for families, investors, and planners to build a modern St. Kitts and Nevis. 2025 also marked a leap forward in climate-resilient public infrastructure with the unveiling of the designs for the new JNF General Hospital. This state-of-the-art, storm-resistant facility is being developed in partnership with Taiwan and OECC. Construction begins shortly, bringing jobs in the short term and delivering long-term benefits in healthcare. This hospital will save lives, but it will also generate economic activity every single day. Across the island, the government advanced one of the largest road modernization programs in our history. Over $80 million has been invested in less than 3 years. This year alone, the St. Peter's Main Road and F.T. Williams Highway East was fully upgraded and completed. Over 3 miles of safer, smoother roadway with sidewalks, retaining walls, and new access points. These works shorten travel time, raise property values, improve safety, and open new economic corridors for families and businesses. Major community roads from Rawlins and Newton Ground to Shadwell and Palmetto Point, and many more also saw significant roadwork upgrades. Pillar 6, circular economy. A sustainable nation is a clean nation, and this year we took some of the boldest steps in our history to reshape how our country manages waste. We passed the Plastic Waste Reduction Act 2025, a landmark law that positions St. Kitts and Nevis as a regional leader in the fight against plastic pollution. Rolled out in 3 phases, the ban eliminated the import, sale, and distribution of single-use plastic bags, styrofoam containers, straws, cups, plates, and utensils. By November 2025, the major categories of single-use plastics were officially out of the Federation. This means cleaner coastlines, healthier marine ecosystems, reduced landfill pressure, and a better tourism product. But more importantly, it means shifting national behavior, encouraging reusable bags, refilling bottles, and greener businesses that save money while protecting the environment. Alongside legislation, we strengthen the systems that make sustainability real. The St. Kitts and Nevis Recycling Project, supported by the Taiwan Technical Mission, accelerated significantly in 2025. Paper recycling was introduced on both islands, new pilot recycling programs launched in Nevis communities, and 57 schools participated in a national recycling competition, transforming environmental education into real action. By September 2025, the project had expanded collection points, increased training workshops, and shipped batches of separated plastic overseas, reducing landfill burden while creating new green jobs in sorting, transport, and materials recovery. This momentum ties directly into the wider transformation of our waste sector, a move from simple disposal to a circular economy. This year, the government also intensified landfill reform efforts following February's Connery landfill fire, accelerating planning for safer, more sustainable waste handling systems. At the same time, regional partners supported circular economy training that empowers local entrepreneurs to turn waste into opportunity, whether through upcycled products, recycling services, or green manufacturing. In this new approach, waste is no longer just a cost. It becomes raw material, it becomes innovation, it becomes wealth creation. And while plastics and recycling dominated headlines, the deeper story is about resilience, health, and long-term economic security. Reducing plastic waste protects our ocean, safeguarding fisheries and coastal livelihoods. Improving landfill management strengthens public health and prevents costly environmental disasters. Recycling projects build new supply chains and new micro-enterprises. And the national shift toward reusables reduces import costs, putting more money back into households and businesses. This year also saw major investments in sports and youth development infrastructure. In May, the new Conway Football Stadium was opened, becoming a vibrant home for community events, tournaments, and local entrepreneurship. Meanwhile, the redeveloped and fully upgraded Kim Collins Stadium achieved World Athletics Level 2 certification, a milestone that allows our athletes to record official qualifying times and positions St. Kitts and Nevis to host regional meets that generate tourism and business opportunities. Education infrastructure also advanced with construction of the new Bastia High School officially beginning in June. And the reconstruction of the Joshua Obadiah Williams Primary School in Molyneux moved forward as well, restoring a pillar of community life and bringing jobs and hope to families who have waited since the 2022 fire. Pillar 7, Health and Social Protection. It is no argument that at the heart of the Sustainable Island State agenda is our people. This year, we saw one of the most ambitious social protection and human development agendas in its history, lifting incomes, modernizing healthcare, and building wealth from the ground up. This was the year of the Budget Boost Wallet, a groundbreaking digital support system that changed lives overnight. Launched in January, it provided EC $1,500 support over 6 months to citizens and residents earning $5,000 or less. More than 23,000 people benefited, and over EC $35 million was pumped directly into the local economy. The wallet helped families buy groceries, pay utilities, support small businesses, and catch their financial breath during challenging economic times, all through a modern, secure digital platform. It brought relief, it brought stability, and most importantly, it brought dignity. At the same time, the government continued to raise the standard of living by increasing the national minimum wage. Effective July 1st, 2025, workers saw their pay rise to EC $12.50 an hour, or EC $500 per week, the highest in our history. This two-step increase over 2 years lifted thousands of workers, strengthened household budgets, and injected new spending power into the economy. When workers earn more, families do better, and businesses grow stronger. For decades, thousands of government auxiliary employees, those who clean our hospitals, protect our schools, maintain our streets, worked without pension security. In 2025, that injustice ended. The Comprehensive Pension Bill finally gave GAEs a contributory pension plan, ensuring that those who serve the country with dignity can retire with dignity. This reform protects workers today and prevents poverty tomorrow, a major milestone in fairness and equality. The transformation continued with Aspire, the pioneering youth savings and investment program. In 2025, Aspire expanded dramatically. Over 5,000 children applied, more than 4,000 accounts were opened, and over EC $4 million was invested into our young people. Every participating child received a 1,000 starter portfolio, half in savings, half in shares, giving them real assets and a real stake in the future. With the ECCB-led financial literacy curriculum rolled out nationwide, a generation is learning not just to earn money, but to grow it. The health sector also saw major upgrades. We commissioned a new fleet of modern ambulances. These vehicles are smaller, faster, and easier to maintain, cutting response times and saving lives. At JNF, construction of the new MRI facility is in its final stages, with the island's first ever MRI expected to go live by early 2026. Alongside upgraded CT scanning laboratory and diagnostic systems, this marks the end of the era when families had to fly overseas and spend thousands for life-saving imaging. And we continued our commitment to protecting mothers and children. The Children's Medical Fund continued to save lives by ensuring no child is denied overseas medical care because their parents cannot pay. And this year, the High Risk Pregnancy Fund was also launched to support expectant mothers with complications, removing financial barriers to specialist care and protecting our most vulnerable families. Finally, the Elevate program continued its work of transforming lives. From skills training and job placement to entrepreneurship support and the Heartfelt Moments Rehabilitation Initiative inside His Majesty's Prison, Elevate gave at-risk youth and justice-involved individuals a second chance, turning potential into productivity and safety into opportunity. As we move into another budget cycle and a new chapter, one truth is unmistakable. St. Kitts and Nevis is moving with purpose. The groundwork has been laid, the momentum is building, and the benefits are already reaching our people, families, farmers, workers, entrepreneurs, students, and communities across every corner of our islands. But this journey is only just beginning. The development path we are on is not a short-term project. It is a long-term commitment, a national mission to building a resilient, a prosperous, modern island state where every citizen has a fair shot at opportunity, dignity, and success. Right before our eyes, we are seeing the pillars come alive, and in the year ahead, these pillars will only grow stronger, powering new industries, new infrastructure, new skills and new opportunities, from renewable energy to digital transformation, to agriculture, creative enterprises, from social protection to climate resilience. Our country is building a future where progress is not occasional, but continuous. This is transformation. This is nation building. And together, we will continue to power progress for St. Kitts and Nevis.
Resumed. You may be seated. Just a moment, Honourable. I recognize the Honourable Member for St. Christopher II.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise with profound honor at this time to make my contribution in support of the 2026 Appropriation Bill presented by our esteemed Prime Minister, the Honourable Member for St. Christopher VIII. Madam Speaker, before I make my presentation, I want to make it clear that the bill presented proposes a bold, forward-looking vision for St. Kitts and Nevis. A St. Kitts and Nevis that is stronger, more innovative, more sustainable. A nation where progress can be measured not only by economic growth, but by the opportunities created, the lives uplifted, and the legacy we secure for generations to come. This appropriation bill is far more than a financial instrument. It is a roadmap for transformation. It reflects, Madam Speaker, a government that dares to think differently, plan boldly, and invest wisely. A government that understands that resilience is not built in balance sheets, but in the capacity of our people, the strength of our respective institutions, and our sustained development. Before I speak on the portfolios entrusted to me and the allocations in the 2026 budget, permit me to speak, and to speak frankly, on the state in which I inherited the ministries and agencies when this Labour administration took office, the actions we have taken, and the path we are charting for the sector. You see, Madam Speaker, I understand yesterday I left for the Christmas party in my constituency, and I understand that the Honourable Member for St. Christopher 7 attempted to rewrite history. The tourism sector 3 years ago was crippled by poor decisions taken by the then Team Unity administration. The consequences, Madam Speaker, were real. Fewer arrivals, reduced receipts, lost jobs, foreclosures on homes. Some taxi and tour operators actually reported loss of their vehicles, their buses. And most profoundly, Madam Speaker, a growing sense of disconnection between policy and decisions and people's everyday lives. In the last 3 years, this government has reset the compass, rebuilt institutions, and re-anchored tourism in sustainable, inclusive, and globally competitive terms. We have turned the page from decline to revival, and we continue through this budget to build on the foundation for St. Kitts and Nevis that is people-centered. And so, Madam Speaker, I wholeheartedly support this budget that sustains the momentum we've built over the last 3 years, that accelerates transformation, and a budget that cements our standing as a premier destination that is safe and vibrant. Madam Speaker, the portfolio entrusted to me includes tourism, civil aviation, maritime, international transport, urban development, and employment and labor. These are not isolated sectors. They form the lifeblood of our national progress. Forgive me. Tourism continues to be the beating heart of our economy. And to me, that's in fact an understatement. We are the lifeblood of the economy, creating pathways for enterprise, creativity, and empowerment. Civil aviation and maritime and international transport together form the arteries that connect us to the world, ensuring that trade, travel, and opportunity flow seamlessly across our borders. Employment and labor form the backbone, ensuring that the prosperity we generate is protected by fairness, guided by strong principles, and translated into what we call decent work, safe places, and real upward mobility for our people and for every citizen to have a fair chance to participate in and benefit from economic growth. Forgive me, Madam Speaker, I was shouting at the Christmas party in excitement yesterday. Together, these portfolios reflect a single deliberate purpose: to build a future where prosperity is inclusive, growth is sustainable, and our people remain at the very center of national development. As we chart this path of transformation, The ministry's work must be viewed through the government's broader mission, the creation of a sustainable island state. As stated by the mover of the bill, the Honourable Member for St. Christopher 8, this vision of a sustainable state is not an abstract ideal. It is a living framework that demands integration across every sector: economic, social, and environmental. Within this framework, the ministries of tourism, civil aviation, international transport, and employment play a defining role, connecting people, industries, opportunities in ways that make sustainability real and measurable. Madam Speaker, within the context of the 2026 Appropriation Bill, it is important to highlight how the Ministry of Tourism, et al., has continued and continue to deliver measurable results, transforming policy into performance and vision into value for our people. Throughout 2025, the ministry demonstrated remarkable resilience and strategic foresight. Despite intense competition across the Caribbean, persistent volatility in global travel patterns, and rising operational costs throughout the tourism value chain, our federation achieved unprecedented growth. We recorded historic visitor arrivals. We expanded airlift capacity by 18% and strengthened brand visibility in key markets, reinforcing St. Kitts and Nevis as a premier year-round destination. These results, Madam Speaker, are not products of chance. They are the result of deliberate policy choices, targeted investments, and robust intersector collaboration. Our shift from a reactive to a proactive, data-driven management model has ensured that every initiative is guided by market intelligence and is aligned with the tangible benefits of our people. Madam Speaker, the data tells a compelling story of growth and transformation. Between January and October 2025, visitor arrivals increased by 8% compared to the same period in 2024, with more than 137 stayover visitors recorded. And I think, Madam Speaker, that deserves commendation. This performance was underpinned by our expansion of airlift capacity between January and October 2025, which rose by 16% to 280,289 available seats. That is the result of strengthened partnerships with major international carriers such as JetBlue, United Airlines, American Airlines, and Intercaribbean Airways. Cruise tourism remains a strategic priority and is poised for a strong season. This season, we will feature 13 inaugural vessels. Including Royal Caribbean's Star of the Seas that visited in October 2025. We anticipate an overall projection of over 1 million cruise passengers this season. We will continue to receive Royal Icons class vessels, with Legend of the Seas, their newest ship, scheduled to call at our port in 2026. Yes. St. Kitts continues and Nevis continue to rank in the top 5 destinations for many of our cruise partners, including Carnival and Royal Caribbean, our major suppliers. In addition, our destination continues to achieve a score of an average 9 out of 10 in satisfaction. This, Madam Speaker, is a clear indication of the effort that this Labour-led administration continues to put into our cruise sector, and of course, the hard, dedicated workers at the Ministry of Tourism, the SKTA, the St. Kitts Tourism Authority, our sister agency, SCASPA, the Urban Development Corporation, and of course, the Frigate Bay Development Corporation. And I see they're represented here this morning. Madam Speaker, the synergy between stayover and cruise tourism has become a hallmark of our destination's resilience. Stayover visitors provide sustained economic activity through hotel stays, restaurant dining, and extended community engagement. Cruise visitors, while shorter in duration, inject volume, vibrancy, and visibility into the local economy, supporting our taxi operators, our local vendors, our tour guides, and our local artisans. This complementary relationship stabilizes business operations year-round. And I want you, Madam Speaker, to pay attention to that word, year-round, reducing seasonal vulnerability and ensuring that prosperity is shared across the tourism chain value. Let it not be forgotten, Madam Speaker, that only a few years ago, our destination faced declining airlift, stagnant visitor numbers, and waning confidence amongst our global partners. Through decisive leadership, strategic partnerships, and the unwavering commitment of this Labour-led administration, we have reversed that trajectory. Yes, trying to rewrite history. Today, St. Kitts and Nevis is no longer recovering, Madam Speaker. We are at this time redefining Caribbean tourism excellence. We have rebuilt trust with our airlines, with our cruise lines, with our travel advisors, and our investors. We have repositioned our nation not merely as open for business, but as a thriving, dynamic, and future-ready tourism destination. So, Madam Speaker, as we debate the 2026 appropriation bill, it is important to acknowledge that the continued strength of our tourism sector rests squarely on our ability to forge and sustain strong partnerships with international air carriers. Airlift, which is a hot talk, remains the lifeblood of island tourism. For without reliable year-round connectivity, even the most beautiful destination will struggle to attract visitors in the numbers necessary to sustain growth, jobs, and opportunity. This Labour-led administration understands the reality. We have therefore invested strategically to secure the air access our federation requires, not through ad hoc arrangements, but through structured, data-driven agreements that balance government support with long-term sustainability. I must highlight, Madam Speaker, an exciting development: an increase in capacity from the Canadian market. And this is a market that we're struggling with for a number of reasons. We have, with Air Canada, upgrading this season from an A319 aircraft, which has the capacity to carry 136 seats, to an A321, which accommodates 200 passengers. Madam Speaker, this is superbly ideal as the destination recently ranked #2 in searches by Canadians, an increase of 170% as reported by Skyscanner. The report indicated that as Canadians look to book their 2026 travel, they are looking for cultural discovery, coastal charm, and vibrant city life. I'm smiling because I hear the senator behind me echoing. She just came from Canada recently. But it doesn't stop there, Madam Speaker. I remember when Silver Airways had its challenges just a few months ago, and they had to remove their St. Kitts connection. There was a big panic, a lot of talk around town. But Madam Speaker, as usual, this government is proactive, not reactive. Today, I am happy to report that yesterday, December 18th, 2025, we welcomed the inaugural Inter-Caribbean Airways direct flight from San Juan, Puerto Rico, replacing that lost flight from Silver Airways, Madam Speaker, and keeping connectivity open. This government continues to recognize the importance of strengthening partnerships, and it is with this mandate that we continue to see an increase in airlift in our federation. Once these routes become commercially viable through consistent demand and strong brand visibility, and I think I'm making some technical terms, but just to break it down, for our destination to be, for us to stimulate demand for our destination, we must first make the destination visible. People must know that we exist, what we have to offer, and why they should choose St. Kitts and Nevis over any other sun destination. The government can responsibly, and we have responsibly, redirected resources towards new routes and new emerging markets. This, Madam Speaker, is the hallmark of responsible tourism development, one that builds enduring connectivity, expands our reach, and ensures that growth is sustainable for the long term. While connectivity brings visitors to our shores, it is strategic marketing and strong brand visibility that inspire them to choose St. Kitts and Nevis. In an increasingly crowded global marketplace, destinations that fail to invest in marketing simply fade from the view, and that is a fact. This government has ensured that St. Kitts and Nevis remain firmly and competitively positioned on the world stage. Our global destination marketing budget increased to EC 14.8 million in 2025, a deliberate investment focused on strengthening brand recognition, deepening engagement in key markets, and converting interest into bookings. These resources were strategically deployed to ensure measurable impact and value. A key pillar of our approach has been high-impact, authentic partnerships that extend reach while preserving our integrity, our brand integrity. The Cole Palmer UK campaign successfully engaged Gen Z travelers and the UK diaspora through modern, relatable storytelling, leveraging his nearly 9 million social media followers to position St. Kitts as a vibrant and relevant Caribbean destination. Madam Speaker, that is monies, marketing dollars well invested. Similarly, our partnership with Blue Boho Fine Jewelry in Canada targeted high-value millennial audiences aligned with luxury, sustainability, and conscious travel, principles that reflect our regenerative tourism vision. Our out-of-home advertising footprint has expanded across major source markets with premium placements in New York. And I'm sure some of you who would have visited New York would have seen on Times Square, down in Times Square, where we had our destination featured there. So we had premium placements in New York, Toronto, and London, and targeted transit advertising in airports and major transport corridors, spaces where travel intent is shaped and journeys are planned. Marketing dollars, again, well invested. This consistent visibility ensures that St. Kitts and Nevis remains top of mind for travelers considering their next Caribbean experience. I am particularly proud that these global campaigns prominently featured local creatives, and I don't see the member from St. Christopher 4. We featured our local photographers, our local models, our local artists, ensuring that the true faces and stories of St. Kitts and Nevis were shared with the world. This authentic representation strengthens our brand while allowing our people to benefit directly from tourism promotion. And I see my little friend just walked in. Madam Speaker, good morning. When potential visitors see real Kittitians and Nevisians, the warmth, the culture, and the energy of our people, they connect with something that's not manufactured, something that no manufacturer can actually replicate. We are not selling an illusion, Madam Speaker. We are sharing the heart and the soul of our nation. Figures and forecasts, Madam Speaker, have their place. But at the heart of this government's work is one simple truth. The success of tourism must be felt by our people. And today I am proud to report that it is. Visitor expenditure rose from EC 266 million in 2024 to EC $278.7 million in 2025. That increase, Madam Speaker, did not happen by chance. Again, it is the result of deliberate policy, strategic investment, and a government that puts people and prosperity first. Improved load factors and longer stays have translated into higher spending per visitor, and our visa transaction analysis confirms a surge in average spend across the board. Madam Speaker, this is not abstract data. This is real money entering our communities, circulating through small businesses, and strengthening our families. Investing in people and progress. Madam Speaker, the tourism value chain is not an academic term. It is the daily reality of our people. It is the taxi operator who now meets more flights and earns more fares. It is the tour guide whose schedule is full because visitors are eager to discover our stories. It is the restaurant and beach bar filled on weekends, serving homegrown flavors and employing more young people. It is the craft vendor at Port Zante, proudly selling the artistry of our people. It is the hotel worker whose hours are steady, whose tips increase, and whose household benefits from every single plane or cruise ship that visits our shores. Madam Speaker, while tourism has proven itself as a powerful engine of national growth, growth alone is never enough. Growth must be governed, growth must be protected, and growth must translate into fairness, security, and dignity for the people who power it every single day. That is why employment and labor is indispensable within this ministry's portfolio. An economy that expands without strong labor protections risks leaving ordinary working people behind. But an economy guided by labor values, fairness, productivity, and justice ensures that success is shared, wages are defended, and opportunity is real. This Labour administration understands that connection, Madam Speaker. Tourism creates the jobs, employment and labour ensures those jobs are decent, safe, productive, and sustainable. The Ministry of Employment and Labour remains steadfast in its commitment to fairness, justice, and dignity within our workforce across the Federation. This ministry is determined to lead as the premier labour authority, one that actively protects workers, strengthens productivity, and modernizes workplace standards to reflect the evolving socio-economic realities of St. Kitts and Nevis. This past year for us has been one of purposeful action. Through deliberate reforms, innovative initiatives, and strong interministerial collaborations, we have focused on building a labor framework that works for both workers and employers. Our objective is clear: to promote fair labor practices, raise productivity, and support sustainable economic growth that benefits every citizen. Through proactive policy making and strategic planning, this government is strengthening the foundation of our labor market and securing a more equitable and resilient future for our people. Madam Speaker, the Appropriation Bill of 2026, as presented by our esteemed Prime Minister, is practical. It's forward-looking and firmly rooted in sustainability. It reinforces this government's commitment to improving work conditions through legislative reform, more inspections, and stronger compliance mechanisms. Over the past 2 years, Madam Speaker, our labor market has shown steady improvement, as mentioned by the mover of the bill. According to national statistics, the average number of jobs increased by 3.3%, and that must be commended, Madam Speaker. These figures reflect more than economic recovery. They speak to resilience, determination, and the collective effort of government, of workers, and employers working together under sound leadership. However, Madam Speaker, we are not blind to the realities before us. Despite this progress, our labor market continues to face challenges: skills mismatches, productivity gaps, and reliance on key sectors such as tourism and retail. These realities remind us that employment is not simply a statistic. It is a system shaped by policy choices, partnerships, choices, and people. That is why this government approaches labor reform with seriousness, balance, and purpose. At the heart of our approach is stakeholder engagement. This government understands that lasting labor reform cannot be imposed. It must be built through dialogue. That is why the 2026 Appropriation Bill reflects a stakeholder-responsive agenda. At the Ministry, we continue to strengthen collaboration with workers' organizations, the Chamber of Industry and Commerce, training institutions, and community groups through constant consultation and open engagement. These consultations have already delivered tangible results, one being the minimum wage reform. Madam Speaker, the increase in minimum wage phased across 2024 to 2025 and was shaped by meaningful dialogue with unions, employers, and the wider public. After 10 long years without a single adjustment, it was this Labour government that acted. We listened. We established the National Minimum Wage Advisory Committee, and following careful review and consultation, we delivered an increase that places our workers among the better protected in the region. From the days of the Buckley's uprising to today, it is beyond a shadow of doubt that it has always been the Labour Party that stood shoulder and continues to stand shoulder to shoulder with our workers. And that legacy continues under this government. Madam Speaker, the establishment of the NPC, which is the National Productivity Council, was a direct response to national discussions on performance, competitiveness, and workplace culture. Productivity is essential to our GDP growth and our long-term sustainability, and this government has moved beyond talk to action. The Council is now operational and represents a clear commitment to improving performance across both the public and private sector. And I see His Excellency Sam Terence Condor in the public gallery this morning, and he leads on the issues related with the National Productivity Council. Madam Speaker, our remarkable progress in 2025 did not happen in isolation. It was fortified through deliberate and strategic engagement with our regional and international partners. This government understands that a small island cannot stand still in a global tourism market. We must grow. We must show up. We must speak up and assert our rightful place. And that is exactly what we have done, Madam Speaker. Through active participation in the Caribbean Tourism Organization, meaningful collaboration with our fellow small island developing states, SIDS, and continuous knowledge exchange across the region, we have made St. Kitts and Nevis a respected contributor in the Caribbean tourism space. At the same time, we have strengthened relationships with global industry bodies such as ASTA, IATA, and CLEAR. And this is important, Madam Speaker, as these are the organizations that shape booking trends, airline connectivity, cruise itineraries, and international travel demand. These partnerships give us the kind of market intelligence, industry visibility, and strategic positioning that no small island can afford to ignore. When we take our seat at the table, Madam Speaker, not as passive participants, but as confident advocates, we influence the decisions that directly affect the livelihoods of the people we serve. That is the power of proactive diplomacy. It ensures that when airlines are evaluating new routes, when cruise lines design new deployments, and when international hotel brands explore expansion, St. Kitts and Nevis is not just on the list. All of this is strategic, Madam Speaker, why we're able to be first ports on new itineraries by the cruise lines, how we were able to get Icon of the Seas, the first stop on the itinerary, how we were able to get Star of the Seas. Our strong, consistent voice is helping to secure the connectivity, the investment, and the global presence necessary to keep our tourism sector vibrant and competitive. Madam Speaker, having outlined the achievements of the past year and the strength of our regional and international positioning, it is now important that we turn our attention to the road ahead. As we move into the 2026 fiscal year, the Ministry of Tourism, Civil Aviation, and International Transport will deepen its efforts to position St. Kitts as a global model of inclusive, regenerative, and future-ready tourism. Our approach, as I have said, Madam Speaker, is guided by a simple but powerful conviction. Tourism must work for the people, not as an abstract concept measured in spreadsheets, but as a lived reality that improves household incomes, expands entrepreneurial pathways, and strengthens every community across the Federation. And so, Madam Speaker, our work for 2026 and beyond is anchored in 5 strategic priorities. These priorities will serve as a guiding star, each designed to ensure that tourism success is felt directly by our citizens. Our first priority is to secure and expand the connectivity that keeps our tourism engine running. We will intensify our efforts to maintain and grow year-round airlift and cruise calls, ensuring reliable access for visitors and steady opportunities for our people. This includes the continuation of our revenue guarantee arrangements, paired, of course, with robust, targeted marketing to stimulate demand and safeguard route performance. When our marketing drives visitor interest and we keep those seats filled, we protect our connectivity while practicing fiscal prudence. Madam Speaker, I want to address another limb in our strategic plan, which is to uplift the communities that serve in tourism. Through the strengthened implementation of our training department, which was introduced, I think it was last year, our goal is to build capacity across the tourism value chain. One of the most powerful ways St. Kitts and Nevis can distinguish itself in a competitive global market is through exceptional customer service. And those of you who are online, social media, the different social media platforms, sometimes you would hear complaints as it relates to customer service, whether at our ports, airports, seaport, hotels. The only way we can distinguish ourselves in a competitive global market is through exceptional customer service, warmth, and knowledge. Every visitor who comes to our shores must leave not just satisfied, but transformed, having experienced the authentic spirit of Kittitian and Nevisian hospitality. When we Kittitianize or Nevisianize the visitor experience, every guest becomes an ambassador to our nation. Madam Speaker, this commitment to quality extends to direct support for our tourism businesses. Just last week, the team and I completed wellness checks with several properties and accommodations on island. I am pleased to report measurable improvement. They're not hearing me? I'm pleased to report, and I'm seeing it on the screen now, report measurable improvement. In some cases, Madam Speaker, occupancy rates increased from 50% to 76% year over year. Assurances were also provided by the respective property managers and owners for infrastructure upgrades, enhancing the guest experience on their properties, and strengthening destination competitiveness. Several properties have further reported sold out or near sold out bookings for June, driven largely, and we're just in December, and some properties we asked about November, January, February, March, and they're saying the bookings are going well, but they reported sold out or near sold out bookings for June, driven largely by the St. Kitts Music Festival, a festival that has become a trend setter in the region, and I dare say the world. So this is significant for us in tourism, Madam Speaker, because traditionally the tourism season ends for us at the end of the winter season. That's usually around April, or let's say even in May. One of our objectives, as I've said, is to make the destination year-round. And so if we can have bookings, hotels filled in June, flights filled in June, that is transitioning us from seasonal, Madam Speaker, to year-round. And what we've seen is those hotels, taking into account that we have Restaurant Week, CPL, Culturama, and all the other activities that drive visitors to our destination up until August, Madam Speaker. And we found that we've only been struggling for the months of September and October. Nonetheless, that is a good transition from seasonal to year-round. And so we are making strides, and I want to commend the hard-working teams in the Ministry of Tourism again, and the St. Kitts Tourism Authority, and all of our respective sister agencies who continue to put in the work. Driving visitor growth requires diversification. That is why we will accelerate the development of yachting as an emerging high-value niche within our tourism products. And the Prime Minister, the Honourable Member from St. Christopher 8, has been behind us ensuring that this happens, and we've made provision in this cabinet to ensure that this is something we can actually implement in the next budget cycle. This sector, we have how many? Million? Oh, Oh, I thought she said we had 10 million, but we have right now 10 super yachts. Wow. And a luxury one berthed downtown at Port Zante. This sector, Madam Speaker, unlocks opportunities in marine services, vessel maintenance, provisioning, and luxury hospitality, creating specialized jobs and higher spend across the economy. And the data has shown you get more income generated from yachting than cruise. And I don't know if you recall, Madam Speaker, last budget cycle we reported that we were able to increase the visitor spend from 2023 to 2024. And we're hoping that with the introduction of the yachting service as a niche to our tourism product, that we can also increase spend there. With facilities at Safe Harbor Marina and Port Zante, St. Kitts is well positioned to capture this affluent market, one that stays longer, spends more, and seeks authentic local experiences. Yachting strengthens diversification and extends the season and adds resilience overall to our tourism product. The team recently toured the completed upgrades at Safe Harbor Marina, and I'm pleased to report that the destination is well aligned for a robust yachting season. The marina now features 31 berths accommodating yachts up to 400 feet with in-slip fueling, an important convenience for captains and crew. Upgrades completed to date include expansion of berthing capacity through a new Medmore dock with a marina depth of 18 feet to accommodate larger vessels. Strong focus on crew experience, including a new gym, crew lounge, organized activities, a golf simulator, a paddle court, and swimming pool. Major improvements. An installation of a desalination system producing 80,000 gallons per day, easing, of course, the pressure, and weighing on the pressure no more, based on what the Honourable member from St. Christopher 3 said yesterday. But the 80,000 gallons per day eases the pressure on our national water resources. Madam Speaker, these developments signal our intent to grow tourism, not only in volume, but in value. Through strengthened connectivity, skilled and service-driven people, and diversified high-value offerings, this government is ensuring that visitor growth translates into resilience, opportunity, and shared prosperity for our people. Madam Speaker, our second priority, and I'm getting there, is rooted in the essential truth that visibility drives viability. Let me say that again. Visibility drives viability. In a competitive global market space where destinations continue to compete, and we like to say compete when we have our meetings, but we actually compete for attention, we compete for bookings, and we compete for market share. St. Kitts must be seen, must be felt, and must stand out with clarity and conviction. To give meaningful effect to this government has proposed 57.2 million financial resources for the Ministry of Tourism, of which over 30 million, more than half, will be invested directly into strategic destination promotion and digital brand building, allowing us to intensify campaigns boldly, globally ensuring that our story reaches audiences in North America, in the United Kingdom, Europe, the Caribbean, and emerging niche markets. This is not expenditure, Madam Speaker. This is investment. Investment that brings passengers through our airports, to our seaports, puts heads in beds at our hotels, bodies into our taxis, and revenue into small businesses. When our brand, Madam Speaker, is visible, our economy grows. And I want to thank, and I think we take for granted a lot of times, the hard work of the St. Kitts Tourism Authority when they leave their families and travel to promote Destination St. Kitts. It's tiring. A lot of times people come and they say they're fatigued, but we put in the work to make sure that our visibility can drive viability. Madam Speaker, this year, I'm pleased to confirm that the hosting of ASTA Caribbean 2026 will be here in St. Kitts in August 2026. And let me see if I remember what the ASTA is, Association. Yes, American, and I was actually a featured speaker in August in Jamaica, American Society of Travel Advisors. It is a huge thing, Madam Speaker. This prestigious conference brings hundreds of travel advisors, wholesalers, meeting planners, and industry gatekeepers to our shores. When these decision makers experience St. Kitts firsthand, we capture bookings for future years. We increase hotel occupancy and expand group travel and elevate confidence in our destination. Let us look closely at this timeline, Madam Speaker. We were strategic in developing our trade markets, working tirelessly to get it booming. These efforts translated into tangible results, including the destination earning the Gold Magellan Award for the Sky, that's St. Kitts Your Way program. Building on this momentum in 2026, like I said, we will host the ASTA Showcase, further positioning St. Kitts as a premier travel destination. This timeline demonstrates how deliberate government action drives recognition, strengthens partnerships, and translates into sustainable economic growth for the destination. Madam Speaker, in support of our private sector, we will launch St. Kitts in the Spotlight, a strategic business-to-business showcase for local hotels, tour operators, and destination management companies. And when we announced it, they were excited. This is market access in its truest form, giving our businesses direct links to those who control the bookings, the itineraries, the packages, and travel distribution channels. When our stakeholders negotiate directly, they capture higher value and greater margins, and that strengthens livelihoods right here at home. This second priority is about securing St. Kitts' rightful place in the global marketplace, not by shouting louder than others, but by speaking with clarity as to who we are, what we offer, and why we matter. Madam Speaker, as we build a tourism economy that stands the test of time, our commitment is clear. Tourism must heal and not harm. Restore, not extract. That is the essence of regenerative development. In the coming fiscal year, the ministry will operationalize this vision through a waste management and climate action strategy designed with a focus on the tourism sector. This strategy will encourage hotels, attractions, and service providers to adopt sustainable waste systems, transition away from single-use plastics, and champion recycling initiatives, also keeping in line with the mandate of the Ministry of Environment. The government will also support regenerative outcomes through complementary investments in coastal restoration, renewable energy integration, and of course, eco expansion. When we restore our beaches, we protect a fundamental economic asset. When we integrate renewable energy into resorts and our ports and tourism sites, we reduce operational costs while demonstrating environmental leadership. If tourism, Madam Speaker, is to lift and to continue lift our nation, then its benefits must touch every household. It must touch every community, not only the hotel corridors and commercial districts. In 2026, the ministry will intensify its commitment to inclusive development through the Heart of the Community project developed and delivered in partnership with the Organization of the Eastern Caribbean States. This initiative is deliberately designed to ensure earnings and tourism earnings are more widely shared and move revenue from centralized hubs into villages, into families and local entrepreneurs. Madam Speaker, transformational development is now underway in our cruise sector. I am proud at this time to officially announce that St. Kitts has secured home porting operations we have secured home porting operations for P&O cruises under the Carnival Corporation umbrella, one of the most influential cruise brands locally. This represents a decisive shift in our positioning, not just as a port of call, but as a strategic embarkation and disembarkation hub within the Caribbean cruise sector. This initial model, of home porting will enable a fly cruise experience where passengers will begin and end their journeys in St. Kitts and Nevis. They will fly into our beautiful Federation, overnight in our hotels, make advance and post cruise bookings, utilize our taxi and tour services, dine in our fancy restaurants, and purchase retail products. These, Madam Speaker, are tangible benefits that the Honorable Senator Jones seemed not to be aware of. Real income reaching real people. To support this unprecedented advancement, Madam Speaker, the government will proceed with major upgrades at Port Zante, including the construction of a new cruise terminal designed to international home porting standards. This facility will offer enhanced passenger processing, expanded customs and immigration capacity, comfortable holding lounges, and improved logistic spaces, ensuring efficiency, safety, and high service quality for passenger and cruise operators. Madam Speaker, this is not merely infrastructure, it is strategic positioning. We must appreciate that visitors form their impressions of St. Kitts long before they arrive at their respective accommodation. If terminals are modern, processing is smooth, amenities are accessible, and spaces are well maintained, they immediately sense that this is a destination that values excellence. Madam Speaker, I'm sure you've heard a lot about resilience, and we talk a lot about resilience. For us, it's not merely a trending hashtag. Resilience for us is the new foundation of global competitiveness. Hurricanes must not cripple our sector. Heavy rainfall must not disrupt access to our sites. Rising temperatures must not compromise visitor comfort. By upgrading our facilities at Port Zante, advancing our plans for the terminal modernization at the Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw International Airport, improving beach management infrastructure, and supporting digital readiness across tourism sites, we are not simply building infrastructure. We are building confidence, economic continuity, and long-term sustainability. Allow me at this time, Madam Speaker, to talk about, just to mention some of the initiatives that the St. Christopher Air and Seaports Authority will embark on. That's not necessarily accounted for in this budget, but supports the work, in the appropriation bill, but supports the work generally of our government. Like I said, by mid-2027, Madam Speaker, we will have constructed and operationalized the new cruise terminal, fully equipped with passenger security screening and custom processing facilities. We will also be converting the RLB Airport VIP parking lots into a dedicated dual-use passenger processing hall featuring security screening and immigration and customs services. The inaugural season for our first call for home porting is November 8th, 2027, and so we must be ready. That is already published on the itineraries, and we will, from November 7, 2027, manage 2,000 passengers weekly. 2,000 passengers weekly flying from the UK on charters, boarding on their cruise from Port Zante, returning back to Port Zante, and again flying back to the UK via chartered service. Madam Speaker, this is a big thing for us, and it must be commended. We value our relationships and partnerships. Madam Speaker, the St. Christopher Air and Seaports Authority intends as well to lead the nation's CISA transition by decarbonizing operations at our ports and ensuring, as I said earlier, that the infrastructure is resilient to climate change. We intend between 2026 and 2027 to successfully commission the wind turbine project targeting a 50% reduction in electricity costs and greenhouse emissions. We intend as well, through the budget at the authority, implement solar PV solutions, and all new and existing rooftops, including our cargo sheds and terminals, will be decked with this solution. Madam Speaker, at the Frigate Bay Development Corporation, I wish at this time to give the update on the work done at the corporation that is one of our sister agencies. I am pleased to report that the Cabinet has approved the acquisition of over 8 acres of land located at the Cockleshell Beach to be developed and managed by the Frigate Bay Development Corporation. Following several monthly interagency meetings held at the Ministry of Tourism, a Cockleshell Task Force Committee was established comprising multiple agencies across the government. The Cabinet's approval sanctioned the Cockleshell Beach Operations Policy. The proposed development covers approximately 8.16 acres of land. The site plan introduces a structured layout with clearly defined zones so that activities flow seamlessly. These include areas for food and beverage operations, family and leisure use, water sports activity, public facilities, and access for all locals. Space is also identified for a SCASPA terminal and for what the Honourable Member from Nevis 11 spoke of, an extension of the existing pier. This zoning approach allows the beach to operate in a more, would allow our beach and our vendors to operate in a more organized way. And it improves visitor flow and supports a more consistent experience for both locals and visitors. At present, Madam Speaker, several vendors operate directly on the sand close to the waterline. This, of course, limits the space for swimming, walking, and general recreation and contributes to congestion during peak periods. The proposal that was approved relocates some of our vendors as well from the South Friars Bay into a purpose-built structure space located several feet away from the shoreline. It restores the beachfront for public enjoyment.
Honourable Member, you are at the 1 hour mark.
Beg your pardon?
You are at the 1 hour mark.
Grateful. I don't intend to go beyond that. Thank you, Madam Speaker. The approved proposal by the Cabinet restores beachfront for public enjoyment while creating a cleaner and more comfortable shoreline experience for locals and visitors. Importantly, Madam Speaker, the existing tree line there on Cockleshell where a lot of people just relax and, spend the day, will remain intact and continue to be used as a shaded picnic and recreational space. The Public Works Department, who is also represented on the task force, has prepared preliminary designs for 3 types of bar structures, which the Cabinet looked at and gave its approval. The proposal is for the government to construct these buildings and lease them to vendors. And in total, or at least for starters, we are proposing 10 commercial units. Public amenities will form part of the project. These include restrooms, showers, shaded seating areas, and recreational spaces, waste and recycling stations, and lighting and pedestrian walkways. The project is structured to be delivered in phases to allow for cost control, for coordination, and minimal disruption to beach use. The first phase prioritizes core infrastructure, including road access, drainage improvements, waste water treatment, utilities, and pier upgrades and extensions. Safety and emergency responses were also considered, as the design includes lifeguard towers to improve water safety. It also sets aside space for a police outpost and a fire and rescue outpost. Carrying capacity was also carefully considered. While the physical space could approximately house 1,200 persons, accommodate 1,200 persons based on area calculation, the figure did not account for environmental impact, amongst other things. And so the carrying capacity recommended daily operating capacity to about 800 visitors and residents. As I said, management of the space is proposed under the Frigate Bay Development Corporation with support from the St. Kitts Tourism Authority for licensing and tourism standards. So, Madam Speaker, as we look forward toward the implementation of this program of our work, our responsibility is clear. Every dollar allocated to tourism must translate, as I said before, in value for our people. And so this government, Madam Speaker, has been deliberate in seeking and allocating resources that will not just sit on paper, but will produce real outcomes, real jobs, business activities, stronger connectivity, and greater opportunities for every citizen from every walk of life. I want to mention one of the most powerful economic engines in our annual calendar, the St. Kitts Music Festival. The government has maintained its allocation of $9 million, and of course that is not without reason. For many families, that weekend, this month generally, is one of the highest earning period of the year. I remember when we met with JetBlue, and I wasn't there, but the team reported that they said, what's happening in St. Kitts in June? They wished every week could be like that week for the music festival. And that is because, Madam Speaker, the impact from the festival, we've done the economic impact assessment, and the impact is clear. It trickles down. Another major investment, as I said, is in the area of air service and destination visibility, which I touched on earlier. Today, St. Kitts has more flight capacity than we did 2 years ago. And as nice as that sounds, it proposed and puts another challenge. So we have more flights than we did, but it means we have more seats to fill. It means the team has more work to do. We have to go out and ensure that those seats are filled. When a destination is well connected, everything else becomes easier though. Hotels hire more people. New small businesses open, and nationals at home and abroad can travel efficiently, and investors are confident. The government has therefore, Madam Speaker, protected the resources for flights for air service connectivity and have the need to sustain airlift performance with an investment of $21.5 million because access cannot be left by chance. So, Madam Speaker, we are investing with our allocations. We intend to invest with our allocations, and we intend to invest strategically in major media placements in our different source markets, in digital campaigns that reach audiences that traditional advertising cannot reach, and in our storytelling efforts that highlights our culture, our warmth, and our identity. I want to again thank all of our stakeholders, all the teams in tourism. I see our junior Minister of Tourism sitting on the front, Miss Mary Shelford, who did a wonderful job in representing us at the Regional Caribbean CTO's Youth Congress. Beg your pardon? And she's also a remarkable teen. Yes. She's also a remarkable teen. And she continues to work with us. She's an excellent junior Minister of Tourism. So the allocations that this government has preserved in the bill proposed for 2026 are not just about spending. They're about safeguarding opportunity, about expanding earning power, and about ensuring that the economic momentum we have built over the last 3 years does not slow, but accelerates. We're using and we propose to continue using public resources with precision and with clear purpose, to elevate our destination, to strengthen the value of our tourism product, and to ensure that citizens, which is the theme of this budget debate, empowering people and progress, to ensure that citizens feel the benefits of tourism, not just in theory, but in their pockets, in their work week, and in the opportunities available to them. Madam Speaker, these allocations reflect an investment in national prosperity, in household security, and in a tourism future that belongs to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. Before I conclude, however, permit me, Madam Speaker, to speak directly to the people I am honored to represent, my people, the good people of Central Bastia. Because, Madam Speaker, at the end of every debate in this honorable house, the true measure of leadership is not what we say here, but what our constituents feel and how they're empowered. National development must never be something that happens somewhere else. It must be visible and tangible in the everyday lives of our people, in the opportunities they can access, in the security they feel, and the dignity with which they live. Madam Speaker, I know all of the presenters who went before me spoke of how the people in Central Bastia will benefit. We've built over 800 homes through the NHC program. The good people of Central Bastia have benefited from some of those homes. Currently under construction, I think 12 homes at Gillard's. And soon we would have new homeowners shaking their keys. Central Bastia continues to be landlocked, and the Ministry of Sustainable Development has found ways to ensure that the good people of Central Bastia benefit from land allocation, not, albeit sometimes not within the Central Bastia communities. I continue to beam with pride when I sit in my one-on-ones, Madam Speaker, and see a number of young people benefit from the jobs created by this government. They come, they indicate they want to work. They are told of the available opportunities. I see them on a day-to-day basis showing up to jobs. And I want the people in Central Bastia to understand that I will continue to advocate on their behalf. Opportunities, Madam Speaker, are opening for our young people through this government and its initiatives, for families and for small entrepreneurs. the people of Central Bastille continue to benefit. As a part of a campaign that we launched, a cleanup campaign in Central Bastille, not as a one-day activity or a symbolic gesture, but as a coordinated program that included several cleanup and improvement initiatives across the constituency, we launched the campaign Restoring Pride, Improving Safety, because if you follow the pages on social media, some of the places were not safe, overgrown, abandoned properties. And when we walk the streets and engage the constituents, some of the things they reported was that, they didn't feel safe with all these abandoned properties and overgrown properties. Madam Speaker, through this campaign, the cleanup campaign, we restored pride in our community. The campaign so far has been successful in not only improving the cleanliness and sanitation of the physical environment, but it has fostered a sense of ownership and civic responsibility amongst communities of Central Bastille. When we go out and you see the residents showing up and taking part in cleaning the communities, it is heartwarming. They come out, they walk around, they help us with the consultations, and they help with the overall cleanup. I wish at this time to thank all the agencies who have partnered with me as the parliamentary representative, Her Majesty's Prison, the Ministry of Health, the Traffic Department who helped with the derelict vehicles, Parks and Beaches, the STEP program, Public Works Department, and the Solid Waste Management Corporation. All, Madam Speaker, have been instrumental in delivering these results. It is my job as your elected representative to mobilize government's resources to bring these kinds of tangible solutions to the community level for your benefit. I wish to thank every resident who came out, every volunteer, every young person, every community member, because what you demonstrated is exactly what Labour leadership has always stood for: community-powered, shared responsibility, and the belief that our people deserve better. Transformation does not come or does not happen from speeches, from bullying on Facebook. It happens when communities rise and say, enough is enough. We are taking back our space. We're going to make our spaces safer. So as we enter, Madam Speaker, the Christmas season, I wish to say directly to the families and the people of Central Bastille, a happy and prosperous New Year. Yesterday, we came together. I left this honorable house to attend the constituency party and celebrate with the children. And I have no voice now, but we shared joy, we laughed together, and we had a good season of togetherness. I don't say unity. Because So, to the beautiful people of Central Bastille, I say this: my commitment to you is steady, and I'm not campaigning. Yes. Because I see some people saying that. But my role in this house is to ensure, correct, but my role in this house is to ensure that the people who elected me overwhelmingly to serve them have their interests met. I say this: my commitment to you is steady. It is not seasonal and it is not selective. I will continue to listen. I will continue to work. I will continue to advocate. Ask the honorable members, my colleagues who sit on this side with me, how much of they say, well, what happened to the things them for us in Central Bastille? But together, we will continue. We get in with houses, we get in with roads, we get in with land, with water. And I'm not just getting. We have gotten improved roads. We have gotten, sorry? The waterman from number 3 has recently restored 24/7 water, soon to be restored to the communities. But I'm getting it already, and I'm thankful. So Central Bastia, I will continue to listen. I will continue to work. I will continue to advocate on the ground and in this honorable house for opportunities and a better quality life for the people of Central Bastia. Together, we will continue to build a Central Bastia, build communities that we can be proud of, communities where progress is real, where a girl from McKnight like me could come out and stand in this honorable house today. Where people feel supported and where every family can look to a future with confidence. So I say to the good people of Central Bastia, I see you, I hear you, and I know the daily realities you face. Feel encouraged and rest assured that this 2026 budget has allocations within it that benefit all of you. So as I conclude my presentation, Madam Speaker, I wish to reiterate that this government is not building a tourism industry for headlines. We don't bother with them things. We are building it for the people, for the young mother who relies on her shifts at the hotel to support her family, for the fisherman whose catch now supplies restaurants filled with visitors, for the graduate returning home with skills and ambition, for the small entrepreneur whose dream is finally within reach. Tourism is no longer something that happens around our people. Tourism is working for our people. So in 2026, Madam Speaker, we are not simply continuing what we have started. We are stepping into a new era of tourism leadership. We're claiming our rightful space among Caribbean leading nations. We have brought stronger airlift with new airline access. We've introduced home porting for the first time in our federation's history. We've increased global visibility, strengthening our environmental protections at our ports, and ensuring that corporations and also, very importantly, our communities stand at the center of economic opportunity. We are putting resilience in every single aspect of our product so that what succeeds today flourishes tomorrow. St. Kitts and Nevis will no longer play small in a competitive world. We will not shrink beside others who are investing boldly. We will match ambition with execution. We will convert investment into transformation. Visible, measurable transformation that reaches homes in McKnight, Market Street, M Street, Newtown, Sandy Point, Old Road, Keys, in Charlestown and Gingerland, and in every single community across both islands. And so, today, I say to the people of this federation, this is your industry. This is your opportunity and your future. Tourism is not owned by a sector. It is powered, like this budget, by people. Powered by our warmth, our talent, and our authenticity. So, Madam Speaker, the vision is clear. A tourism product that does not extract, but regenerates. An economy, as said by our mover of the bill, that does not exclude, but empowers, and empowers all. A country that does not hope for prosperity, but builds it. When tourism thrives, our nation rises, and that is clear. When our destination is respected, our people advance. And when prosperity touches every household, then and only then, Madam Speaker, we have done what we came here to do. Tourism for all. Tourism changing lives. tourism securing our future. Allow me to close by saying to the good people of St. Kitts and Nevis, warm wishes for the season. Make sure you participate, whether Juve morning, last lap, or in any of the festivities. And I look forward to a new year where we continue to build stronger communities and brighter futures together. With that said, Madam Speaker, I wish this bill safe passage through this honorable House. May it please you.
Thank you to the honorable member for St. Christopher II. Based on the speaking order, we have one additional presenter left. That is a member from the government's benches. I therefore recognize the honorable member for St. Christopher VI.
Madam Speaker,
Yes, honorable.
permit me, of course, to rise. I thought it was going to be this morning, but I said this afternoon with a deep sense of responsibility, gratitude, and resolve to lend my full support to the appropriation 2026 bill 2025 that is now before this honorable House, presented by the Honorable Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, our member for St. Christopher No. 8, Dr. Terence Joe, in his annual budget address delivered earlier this week. Madam Speaker, I do so not merely as a member of the Cabinet, but as a servant of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, very conscious of those who are the residents of constituency St. Christopher No. 6, those who hail from Newton Ground in the west to Harris's in the east, but of course quite inclusive of St. Paul's, Deer Bay, Parsons, Lynches, Lavington, and of course Sadlers. I believe, Madam Speaker, that the expectations of the present and the obligations that we owe to future generations are almost palpable today. At the outset, Madam Speaker, I wish to recognize and commend all honorable members on this side of the House, those who have contributed meaningfully to this debate over the past several days. Each intervention, Madam Speaker, has reflected the seriousness with which this government approaches governance, the seriousness of fiscal stewardship, and of course, national development. I want to acknowledge the Honorable Deputy Prime Minister the honorable ministers who hold sustainable development portfolio, those who hold infrastructure, tourism, agriculture, social development, labor, youth, gender affairs, and all of my colleagues who have articulated their own visions and defended their portfolios and placed before the nation a coherent and integrated policy direction for the fiscal year ahead, 2026. Madam Speaker, I also acknowledge, of course, the contributions from members on the opposition benches. While we may differ in philosophy and approach, robust debate is the lifeblood of any parliamentary democracy. And this House is strengthened when ideas are tested in open forum of public discourse. Madam Speaker, what really is this budget about? It is a budget that is anchored in purpose and in progress. And so this debate occurs at a significant juncture in the life of this Parliament. We are now in the fourth year of a 5-year term, a moment that demands reflection, accountability, and renewed focus, especially when we had seen the collapse of the last administration after a few months of being put together in this very Parliament. This budget, therefore, is not a speculative exercise. It is a mature budget. It is informed by experience. It is grounded in realities of governance and shaped by the lessons learned since this administration assumed office and labor administrations of yesteryear. It reflects a government that has stabilized the economy. It has restored confidence after the collapse of a government of just about 18 or 15 months, and placed people at the center of our national development, even while navigating global uncertainty, inflationary pressures, climate vulnerability, and of course, geopolitical instability, even within the very Caribbean region in which we are living. Madam Speaker, the appropriation bill before us is a statement of intent. And it speaks to the following. 1, fiscal responsibility without social abandonment. 2, economic growth without exclusion. 3, development without disregard for sustainability. And progress without forgetting our most vulnerable of this country. This budget, it builds on a foundation of sound macroeconomic management, strengthened international partnerships, and on unwavering commitment to good governance, which speaks to us and those on the other side. There is a collective responsibility and cabinet unity within this budget. The budget is not the work of one individual. It is the product of collective cabinet deliberation, technical expertise, public consultation, and strategic planning across ministries and departments. It reflects the philosophy of this administration. That is, governance is a shared responsibility, and that national progress requires coordination, cooperation, and of course, coherence. As Minister responsible for economic development and investment, for foreign affairs and international trade, industry and commerce, and consumer affairs, I am particularly heartened by the clear alignment between fiscal policy and the government's broader development agenda. This budget, therefore, reinforces our commitment to achieve the following. 1, economic diversification. Sorry, the member for number 5 is not here this morning. Investment facilitation. Thirdly, regional and international engagement. 4, industrial development. 5, consumer protection. And 6, the creation of sustainable, decent workforce for all of our people. Madam Speaker, permit me for a moment to recognize the leadership of the Prime Minister. I wish to place on record my own commendation of the Honourable Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Dr. Joe, for the clarity, for the discipline and the vision demonstrated in the presentation of this particular budget. I commend, of course, those in the Ministry of Finance who have helped as architects in putting this together and thus presented before the country. His leadership reflects a modern understanding of governance, one that balances fiscal prudence with social justice and ambition with realism. Under his stewardship, this government has remained focused on its own mandate to build a sustainable island state, not as a slogan at all, but as a practical framework for resilience, equity, and long-term prosperity. Recall the historical path that we have taken from sugar monoculture to services, tourism, hospitality, international financial services, information communication technology services, offshore education services, and yet another pillar, agriculture and light manufacturing, small business and entrepreneurship. All of these, Madam Speaker, are what we are transitioning towards from where we were when, unfortunately, we had setbacks of several dimensions. I want to emphasize here this afternoon my support for the appropriation bill. Madam Speaker, it is against this backdrop that I rise today to unequivocally support the appropriation bill that is now before this Honourable House, because it is intended to consolidate the path that we have taken to realize that bold vision of transition, transformation, and economic diversification. This bill provides the legal and financial authority that is necessary to advance the policies, the programs, and projects that our people have entrusted us to deliver. It is a budget that gives us the opportunity to realize our bold vision of investing in people and investing in our progress towards a brighter future. It is to protect the vulnerable. It is to further diversification. It is to assist in further diversification of the national economy. It is to empower the productive sectors. It is to strengthen institutions. It is to position St. Kitts and Nevis to compete and thrive in an increasingly complex global economy. For a moment, I forgot the translator, the interpreter. Going fine. Good. Madam Speaker, and so in the course of this presentation, I will address in greater detail the specific initiatives, the allocations, the strategic priorities within my own ministerial portfolios that give life and substance to this budget, intended to create a sustainable island state, following the very broad guidelines of the National Development Planning Framework, the NDPF, distilled and so well marketed by the Sustainable Island State Agenda, SISA. And so, Madam Speaker, foreign policy is how a small nation like ours make a big life for its people. Foreign policy, foreign affairs. The ministry's diplomacy is a development instrument. It mobilizes finance and technical cooperation. It secures education and skills opportunities. It attracts technology and knowledge transfer. And it protects our citizens abroad, whether naturally born citizens or those who acquired citizenship by descent, by marriage, or by investment. All of them, none is left out. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs delivered tangible, people-centered diplomatic gains in 2025, especially in scholarships, in education, in technology transfer, and human capital. We strengthened international partnerships. We've expanded our technical cooperation and leveraged diplomacy to attract finance and capacity building, whether through bilateral or our multilateral relationships. These functions feed directly into the National Development Planning Framework, the NDPF, priorities for human capital, resilience, and economic diversification. The Sustainable Island State Agenda CSIR pillars for resilience and sustainable resource use, and the 2030 SDG targets for education, for decent work, for health, for climate action, and for partnerships. The budget 2026, Madam Speaker, the ministry requested targeted resources to convert diplomatic commitments into concrete projects. And so we've expanded our scholarships in Cuba, in Morocco, in the Republic of China, in Tanzania. We have, of course, insisted on consular modernization and climate diplomacy. Madam Speaker, if you look at the 2025 performance highlights and development impact, we will illustrate it by the following. In multilateral leadership and agenda setting, our ambassador at the UN was appointed co-chair of a working group to revitalize the United Nations General Assembly, strengthening our own voice on reform and small state priorities, and deepening influence on multilateral processes that affect financing, peace, and development. Can you imagine how proud we felt when at the just concluded 80th session of UNGA, United Nations General Assembly, one of the co-chairs was our own permanent representative and ambassador at the UN, hailing in particular with pride from constituency number 6. Again, diplomatic engagement and market access. Appointed new missions in India and Singapore, with bilateral visits, new envoy appointments, opened trade and tourism channels that support economic diversification and decent work, directly contributing to the NDPF's economic growth and employment objectives. In the area of city diplomacy and subnational cooperation, I emphasize that formal ties with 2 major cities in Taiwan open doors for tourism flows, for cultural exchange, and municipal-level cooperation in smart services, in agro-tech, and education, thus complementing national bilateral agendas and CSIR's innovation focus. Again, pursued and led by another of our youthful ambassadors from constituency number 6. That is not by coincidence. It's the Lord's blessings, I'm sure. Embassy-led economic and cultural promotion as well. Our Taipei mission won recognition for for promoting national festivals, music and mango, at the 2025 Taipei International Travel Fair, converting visibility into demand and networks for tourism, agri-products, and of course, creative exports. Our embassy in Washington, D.C., it facilitated a cultural group to perform for independence celebrations and continues to be one of the trusted architects strengthening our own bilateral relationship with the United States of America at a time when the USA's foreign policy is being reshaped and refocused under the present administration of President Trump. Again, ministerial leadership and policy coherence has been demonstrated. Senior ministers' 2024 achievements and strategic vision for 2025 were underscored through integrated portfolios, foreign affairs, trade, industry, investment, creating a unified external engagement strategy that translates diplomacy into development gains. What are some of the concrete 2025 results that benefited Kittitians and Nevisians? Firstly, scholarships and higher education access. St. Kitts and Nevis has long leveraged bilateral ties with Taiwan, Cuba, and Morocco, Romania, Azerbaijan, to secure scholarships in inter alia, medicine, engineering, technology. These programs continue to expand access for our youth and strengthen national human capital. This year, the scholarship intake increased from a historical maximum of 15 to 25 scholarships following direct advocacy by our ambassador and our minister during official visits to Taiwan. Technical assistance and volunteer professionals. During the minister's visit to Nigeria, that is yours truly, because we have another minister who visits occasionally, contact with Nigeria Technical Aid Corps, NTAC, secured deployment of education and medical professionals. 17 volunteers will arrive in this federation next week on Air Peace flight, flying directly from Nigeria to St. John's, Antigua, and then taking Sunrise Airways to our own Robert Llewellyn Bradford International Airport on the 21st day of December, immediately strengthening frontline services. We shall achieve even if we have to cross boundaries, even if we have to cross borders, whether they are across nations or across mountains, whether they are across continents, we shall continue to use diplomacy, our foreign affairs, support connections in order to bring benefits to our people to achieve our goals as set out in this budget for 2026. In the area of technology donations for education, again, I mentioned diplomatic channels with Azerbaijan via our own ambassador in Cuba. We've got 100 laptop computers. They have been pledged to the Ministry of Education to support the National Laptop Program and digital learning. And already the order has been placed for a brand new library for the Dr. Denzil Llewellyn Douglas Secondary School in Settlers with e-books.
Only 6 benefiting from this fire.
Not really at all. the country benefits, inclusive of Nevis. With e-books, some 235 laptop computers, one for each student in that school. We're small, but we're talent. I wish to also emphasize interns and knowledge transfer that is part of this diplomatic stride for our development. Deployment of interns from Taiwan to several ministries accelerated priority work. Within the ministry, we advanced the Multilateral Treaty Index, and we completed a protocol handbook improving institutional capacity for treaty management and diplomatic procedure. Through UNESCO and our partnerships with them, for teacher professionalization and curriculum reform, we have made contacts with UNESCO, and with the Honorable Deputy Prime Minister and our ambassador to UNESCO, the Federation has secured access to undergraduate pathways for teachers via the Open University of Tanzania, supported by UNESCO, to professionalize the teaching force here in St. Kitts and Nevis. 26. Additional UNESCO assistance includes the following: strengthening the national qualifications and accreditation framework, scaling up TVET competences for TVET teachers, introducing education for sustainable development into national curriculum, developing an intangible cultural heritage national policy framework, and enhancing biodiversity credentials for the Man and the Biosphere Reserve in St. Mary's in Keon under the UNESCO Earth Network. And of course, supporting the elimination of plastics and the development of national gender equality policy of our country. For 2026, what are some of the priorities and outlook? Climate resilience financing. We cannot achieve our climate resilience goals without financing. And so, we shall continue to negotiate and secure concessional resources, grants, and technical assistance, all aligned to achieve the CISA pillars, or all aligned to the CISA pillars, thus leveraging the United Nations, EOSIS, and regional mechanisms to accelerate energy transition, water security, and coastal protection, which are so critical for our own sustainability as a nation. We will also pursue bilateral cooperation in agri-tech, in health and education. We will continue our digital diplomacy for the MSMEs and branding. We shall ensure that there is diaspora engagement at all levels. We will make sure that there is multilateral leadership so that sustained roles that shape agendas at UNGA revitalization, ECOSOC membership, and SIDS coalitions to keep all of these small state needs central to our global policy of financing and implementation. What are now some of the direct contributions from the Ministry of National Development or practical impacts? Firstly, we must ensure that we emphasize the human capital uplift. I mentioned scholarships, teacher upskilling, and volunteer professionals fill all of the critical skill gaps in medicine, in engineering, in education, and technology, reducing skill shortage bottlenecks that can constrain growth. In other words, if we are seeking to really position this country to the next level, if we want to really invest in progress and in our people, we have to make sure that our people access training. That is what this ministry is seeking to do, to provide the means by which our people can work, prepare themselves in order to take forward the mantle of leadership to transform and transition this country of ours. We will ensure that improved service is delivered. Short-term deployments and internships will accelerate project delivery across ministries, especially education, health, and digital transformation, thus increasing government effectiveness. There shall be digital inclusion and learning continuity to be achieved. The laptop donation and TVET scaling support, remote learning, digital literacy, and workforce readiness, all these are key to post-pandemic recovery and our NDP targets achievements. We shall ensure that one of the direct contributions of the ministry to our national development will be institutional strengthening. A multilateral treaty index and protocol handbook will improve treaty compliance, negotiation outcomes, and the ministry's ability to secure favorable technical and financial packages. Another important area of achievement will be policy coherence and international credibility. UNESCO, for example, and other multilateral partnerships, they will help to align national policy in terms of qualifications, gender, cultural heritage, biodiversity, with international standards, thus improving our own access to funding and technical cooperation. The idea here, Madam Speaker, is that we cannot do it alone. We do not have the financial and the human resources to do it alone. That is why we are forging partnerships with our international friends and friendly countries so that we can, in short order, within the short space and time allowed, qualify to move forward to achieve what has been outlined to be achieved in this budget for 2026. A small state's power, it lies in the position of its own partnerships. I want to repeat that. A small state's power lies in the precision of its partnerships. And so in 2025, we proved that strategic diplomacy delivers concrete gains for jobs, for skills, for culture, and resilience. Those which we would have achieved in tourism in fiscal year 2025 were not achievable without our partnerships that we would have established. In 2026, we pledge to sharpen that precision, aiming every agreement, aiming every fellowship established, aiming every mission initiative at the heart of CSIR's transformation and the NDPF's vision for 2020 to 2040, so that our own global work will show up in people's everyday lives at home here in St. Kitts and also in Nevis. Madam Speaker, let me move on very quickly to international trade, industry, commerce, and consumer affairs. And let me, of course, wet the tongue and lips with some water. Convis, where are you?
Get you? Good
Waterman, the good waterman.
Good water.
And so I say, as Minister of International Trade, Industry, Commerce, and Consumer Affairs, I am most honored to present the initiatives and the accomplishments of my ministry. These initiatives are carried out against the backdrop of a difficult global economy, with larger countries frequently overlooking the needs of smaller ones, smaller and more vulnerable nations. But, Madam Speaker, as the world economy grows more complex and interconnected, St. Kitts and Nevis depends on its capacity to interact purposefully with international markets for continued prosperity. Our vision of 2025, though modified to overcome these hurdles that we will face in 2026, my ministry's activities in 2026 must reflect a deliberate focus on advancing a resilient and diversified economy, and a diversified economic policy, I should say, that fundamentally alters the trajectory of our small island state. We must be on a path that echoes opportunity and sustainable growth through and for all our citizens' future. And so our vision is to expand our export markets, strengthening ties with our strategic partners in the global south, and leveraging critical agreements we as parties have signed on to. Madam Speaker, we will review the achievements of the Ministry of International Trade, Industry and Commerce, Consumer Affairs, which include the St. Kitts and Nevis Bureau of Standards. Madam Speaker, let us turn for a moment our attention firstly to the Department of International Trade. I notice Acting PS is here in-house with us. Well, actors are not forever. Madam Speaker, in today's increasingly interdependent and multifaceted global economy, the prosperity and sustainable development of our nation are fundamentally intertwined with our capacity to effectively engage and compete in international markets. Recognizing this reality, a cornerstone of our own strategic vision for 2026 is the deliberate, focused advancement and modernization of our own international trade policy framework. Madam Speaker, 2026, the Department of International Trade is committed to aggressively expanding into new export markets, focusing especially on high-value niche products that reflect our own unique competitive advantages. A key element of this strategy involves strengthening and deepening our trade relationships with strategic partners in the global south that offer vast and untapped opportunities for trade and investment. Yesterday we heard, or the day before, we heard from the Minister of Agriculture and Small Business and so forth, who has been making strides in the African continent, in Nigeria. And so in this regard, Madam Speaker, the St. Kitts and Nevis Brazil-Guyana Partial Scope Agreement, the PSA, It stands at the forefront of our international trade objectives. This accord remains a vital component of our overarching strategy, reflecting our own commitment to deepen economic ties and secure new opportunities for growth and investment. Currently, the PSA is undergoing a thorough review to ensure its provisions are in harmony with the rapidly changing global economic landscape. Madam Speaker, the Department of International Trade has proactively alerted the private sector that the PSA negotiations will be resumed in 2026. But in addition to this, Madam Speaker, the department continues to intensify collaboration with regional partners to bring the CARICOM-Colombia Trade Agreement on trade and technical cooperation into full fruition. Madam Speaker, this agreement is designed to deliver concrete improvements in market access for our own goods and services within the Global South, especially targeting Colombia, while also mitigating technical restrictions that have hampered trade growth in the past. Central to these objectives, Madam Speaker, is the promotion of capacity building, harmonization of product standards, and support for suitable development practices across the entire region. Madam Speaker, the Department of International Trade achieved notable progress in 2025 through the formalization of an economic cooperation agreement with the Republic of China, Taiwan. As we look ahead to 2026, a central focus will be on actively pursuing the successful conclusion of this critical, pivotal agreement. The Department of International Trade has dedicated significant time and effort to this agreement, recognizing that the ECA is designed to serve the best interest of St. Kitts and Nevis while honoring Taiwan's own requirements in this particular economic cooperation agreement. Madam Speaker, as I reflect on my own commitment made in this very chamber back in 2024, where I assured the people of St. Kitts and Nevis of an active 2025 agenda, it is with a sense of accountability and pride that I affirm our continued efforts to fulfill that particular promise. Despite the significant geopolitical challenges which we have no direct control over, we have remained steadfast and unwavering in our own dedication to progress. Our resolve has not faltered. Instead, we have stayed the course, ensuring that our actions are aligned with the best interest of our nation and our nation's people. Madam Speaker, it is imperative that we as government continue its work on this agreement, as the heart of this agreement, Madam Speaker, emphasizes technical cooperation, capacity building initiatives, which are fundamental elements of the agreement that will empower our industries and workforce, thus enabling us to strengthen our own industrial capabilities. Madam Speaker, these are vital steps toward diversification and the creation of new jobs for our citizens. Furthermore, the agreement serves to reinforce the diplomatic relationship and deepen the economic partnership between St. Kitts and Nevis and Taiwan. For these reasons, it has been designated as a top priority within the department's 2026 work plan. This agreement stands as a cornerstone in our broader strategy to diversify our economic partnerships and to advance sustainable growth of our nation, especially in Southeast Asia. Madam Speaker, our nation's journey toward a resilient and sustainable future is inextricably linked to our active and strategic engagement within our own Caribbean community. And so to that end, a central pillar of this department's work is to empower every single citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis with the necessary tools and the confidence to fully participate in the CARICOM single market and economy. We view the CSME not merely as a policy framework, but as a dynamic and transformative arena for growth, for collaboration, and of course, for shared prosperity. For a small island state, our greatest asset has always been our people. The CSME's provisions for the free movement of skills present a profound opportunity to leverage this asset on a regional scale. This is a strategic imperative that allows us to transcend the limitations of our own domestic labor market. It is a conduit for our citizens to access expanded career opportunities abroad, which in turn alleviates local unemployment, catalyzes professional development, and fosters a valuable cycle of knowledge and expertise that can be repatriated to strengthen our own economy. Yesterday, we, of course, were challenged that a lot of our small businesses in this country, which operated and flourished in the past, especially on the 4th Street track, a lot of those businesses are now in the hands of so-called foreign people. That struck me in the sense that it is not a statement that must go unnoticed. But I want to emphasize that St. Kitts and Nevis has signed on to the free movement of people, especially in the Eastern Caribbean and also in the wider Caribbean community. I was further challenged in discussions this morning on this matter that maybe, although the skills certificate from CARICOM is really the tool, the instrument that determines whether one is able to establish themselves here into businesses and into jobs that are created here in St. Kitts and Nevis. The skill certificate still remains the main instrument of determination. I have been challenged that maybe some of these are fraudulent. I would not go that far. But all I ask this chamber to appreciate is that we in the ministry pledge to pay closer attention to ensure that what is being accused is not correct. In other words, it has not gone unnoticed. And if a lot of the businesses on 4th Street are now owned by so-called foreign people, I am sure that these so-called foreign people are Caribbean people and people of St. Kitts and Nevis. But it behoves us, of course, to pay close attention to this, to be more vigilant in ensuring that although we subscribe to free movement and the rights of people in the Eastern Caribbean to establish themselves here within the legal framework of the law, then, of course, we must also pay attention to underscore that legality is critical for this to be attained and achieved. We will therefore, in the coming year, focus and sharpen our own observations to achieve proactive enablement, so that our own locally born people cannot be said to be excluded from the small business sector, especially established in our towns and cities. We will launch, therefore, a comprehensive suite of targeted initiatives designed to demystify the pathways to our own regional mobility. This means equipping our workers, our entrepreneurs, and our regulatory bodies with clear, practical guidance on certification, on accreditation, and compliance, therefore ensuring that our people can navigate the CARICOM economic space, not with trepidation, but with ambition and ease, just as those from around the region are moving into St. Kitts and Nevis without trepidation and with relatively ease, if we were to listen seriously to the member from number 5 yesterday. Crucially, Madam Speaker, we approach this not from a posture of dependency, but one of mutual benefit and strategic reciprocity. Our vision is for St. Kitts and Nevis to become a vibrant hub within the regional ecosystem. That's the point. A respected exporter of talent, yes, but also an attractive and welcoming destination for skilled professionals, service providers, and consumers from across CARICOM. I remember a few years back when we had the very difficult decision to make in closing the sugar industry and having our lands for development. And we had the opportunity, with the support of the World Bank, who sent a consultant here from Grenada, was here with us for 3 to 4 years, looking at how we can help to develop our country using human resource that was not from the scum of society in other countries. And we specifically targeted at that time people from the Eastern Caribbean, most of whom had already obtained their bachelor's degrees. They were here in St. Kitts and Nevis, in the Central Bank, and in other regional institutions. And we made it possible for them to invest in our country, build homes, generating construction activities and economic activity in general, so that within a short order, we had become one of the leading countries in the Eastern Caribbean. We want to ensure that these people from the Eastern Caribbean and other Caribbean countries are part of the human resource that we can tap into in building this country of ours, especially navigating through the turbulent times of 2026 and beyond. Madam Speaker, our vision again is for St. Kitts and Nevis to become a vibrant hub within the regional ecosystem. A very respected exporter of talent, yes, but also an attractive and welcoming destination for skilled professionals, service providers, and consumers from across the entire CARICOM landscape. By cultivating a business environment that is both regionally competitive and inviting, we position ourselves to capture the full spectrum of economic opportunities that integration offers. These concerted efforts are fundamental to our own overarching mission of building a sustainable island state. They are the practical manifestations of our own government's commitment to regional solidarity within both the OECS and CARICOM, and they are directly aligned with global aspirations for decent work, inclusive economic development and growth, and the reduction of inequalities. In a world of complex geopolitical challenges and economic headwinds, Madam Speaker, the notion of solitary success is an illusion. Our strength, our security, and our prosperity, they are all amplified through collective action. As a committed member of the OECS and CARICOM, we firmly believe that our shared future depends on this solidarity. It is through this unity of purpose that we will not only confront the challenges of today, but also seize the opportunities of tomorrow, the opportunities of leadership of the region, which we have done in the past, and which our Prime Minister will do in a matter of days when he takes over the chairmanship of CARICOM. These are not small achievements. We have to make sure that we are able to lead within the space that we have designated for ourselves in order to advance success and opportunities for our people. Madam Speaker, in an increasingly digital global economy, the efficiency of a nation's trade infrastructure is a direct determinant of its economic competitiveness. It is within this understanding that our own government is spearheading a fundamental modernization of our international trade systems, with a primary focus on transitioning to a paperless trading environment.